Today is Strategy Game Day, as Slitherine Games just announced several new titles for 2026, plus a big sale on their existing catalog of games. Games like Distant Worlds, Field of Glory, Fantasy General 2 are all sitting at their lowest price ever right now. Slytherine's celebrating their 25th anniversary, and if you're into strategy and war games, you're probably familiar with the name Slitherine, or you could be a Harry Potter fan. We'll start this video, though, with the newest announcements and some highlights from their recent Slitherine Next 2025 event, and then we'll get to the big sales. But first, I want to make sure and thank Slitherine for sponsoring this video. First thing I want to mention, though, is Bolt Action. This is supposed to be coming out next year by Frag Games. This is Bolt Action, I should start with, is a tabletop game by Warlord Games. Came out back in 2012, and this seems like the game that they are making from what they showed off in the event and the Steam page here. This is very heavily, very close to the tabletop game, where it even looks like you've got tabletop figures moving around the battle map. Turn-based tactical in this World War II strategy style. Next is one that I am really looking forward to, and that is Stormbinders, because I am a Heroes Might and Magic 3 fan, and they don't shy away from the fact that this is heavily inspired by Heroes Might and Magic 3. This is the Slitherine published, Destructive Creations developed version of a Heroes Might and Magic. If you're not familiar with that, you start yourself with a castle in this sort of fantasy world. You buy a bunch of leaders, you hire units under those leaders, you go out, you collect resources, building up bigger armies, and then marching across the map. Even the battle maps look similar, turn-based tactical style of battle map with, of course, magic and all the good stuff with fantasy things. So it's supposed to be coming out this next year, as with all of these right here. We got Battleplan. Up next is a historical World War II real-time strategy game, a grand-scale RTS game, like with pausable RTS game, all sort of centered around the Western Front on this one. Big maps, big armies. This is supposed to be a real-time strategy game of unparalleled realism and simulation, fighting across multiple battlefields. This like real-world maps and geographical data is sort of the emphasis here. They are mentioning it on the Steam page. This one, by the way, is by Foolish Mortals Games, and of course published by Slitherine. Next up, Radio Commander came out back in, I think, 2016, and Slitherine is now publishing Radio Commander, and along with that, they are making a new Radio Commander. Squadron Studio is, anyway. This one's set in the Pacific, called Radio Commander Pacific 41. Radio Commander is an interesting one because it's an RTS, and we've seen real-time tactics before, but that whole fog of war of being the guy sitting back in the headquarters, radioing your orders and trying to figure out what's going on just by orders and just what you're told is an interesting idea, and it plays out very differently from your typical RTS. And I'm interested to see this Pacific version they're supposed to be coming out with. Back to the tabletop, we've got Headquarters Cold War. This is a turn-based strategy game set in a hypothetical Cold War set in 1984. NATO, USSR. There is a Headquarters World War II, which came out a while back, and this is the Cold War version of that. It's being developed by Starny Games and published by Slitherine. And they do have all these have a Steam page, so I'll have those linked down below if you want to check them out. That's all the new ones that were announced with this event. But they have Runequest Warlords, who just came out just on December 9th. This is a battle-scale turn-based strategy game set in the Runequest universe. Glorantha should be the name familiar for you. Commanding your army around in this fantasy turn-based tactics game by Virtuos and published by Slitherine. I'll probably have a video on this one before too long. I did play the demo, but you're building your fantasy army and turn-based tactical style, marching across the map. Sort of in that battle sector style, if you're familiar with the Warhammer games that they have made. So they did several announcements on games that are already out, but the plans that they have for those games. New updates, new DLCs, and I'll mention a couple of these. I want to mention Scramble Battle of Britain, which I don't have a video on, but this is a weird one. It's a dogfighting game, set in Battle of Britain, of course, where instead of like real time, flying planes around, it's a turn-based thing, but it's different because, of course, you're not just sitting on a plane, you've got more than two dimensions, and it's a different one. But anyway, they've announced a single-player campaign that they are working on for 2026 on this one, and this one's actually being developed by Slitherine. Starship Troopers Terran Command, which I just got a video on, is getting a new DLC. They just came out with this territory mode. By the way, Starship Troopers, it's an RTS, lots and lots of bugs. Fight against the bugs that are swarming the map. And the territory mode that came out this year, they are expanding on that, and a new DLC they're announcing called the Eradicators is adding in a new faction. This is like biological warfare faction, new aliens, and all the good stuff along with that. Starship Troopers, by the way, is on sale, which we'll mention here in just a second. And last on the event, Slitherine Next event, was Panzer Corps 2 that I want to mention here anyway. This one has a new DLC, an Italy campaign. I've played Panzer Corps several times, and the new DLC is focused around the Sicily invasion and Italy, hence the name. Panzer Corps 2 is a turn-based tactical set in World War II, hex-based, old-timey war game. Okay, so let's get to the sales. So I'll start with, we'll go here to Steam, because that's where most of these sales are. These are going on until the 16th of December, but these are, as my browser extension is telling me, these are at their lowest they have ever been. We'll start with Distant Worlds 2. This is a vast, plausible real-time 4X strategy game, as they call it. And yeah, that sums it up. Space 4X, it is sitting at $17.49 at the moment, put at 65% off. This is one of the bigger, more complex space strategy games that are out there, so much so that you can select how much automation you want, because doing it all yourself would be too much. So there's a lot of automation to kind of help you ease you into the game. Next up, we got Headquarters World War II. I mentioned Headquarters Cold War, which is their new one they just announced. Headquarters World War II is the one that they made last year, and it is on sale at the moment. Puts it at 40% off, down to $23.99. Again, this is set in this turn-based tactical World War II setting of war game. Starship Troopers, as I mentioned, is on sale at the moment, and it is sitting down here at 45% off, puts it at $16.49 at the moment. Swarms and Swarms of Bugs, do your part and all that good stuff. Panzer Corps 2, which I just mentioned as well, is also on sale. They're all basically on sale, but I'm just mentioning the highlights, and these are the ones that are on their lowest they've ever been. This is down at $13.99 right now, which puts it at 65% off for Panzer Corps 2. Field of Glory Kingdoms is one I didn't mention before. This one is on sale, of course. This is a turn-based strategy where you are running your kingdom in this sort of grand scale. By Agiod made this one, but it is down at 35% off, puts it at $25.99 for this one. And along with that, we got Field of Glory 2 Medieval, which is the medieval version of that turn-based tactics game set in the high Middle Ages. You've got massive armies on a battlefield, managing them around by Byzantine Games and published by Slitherine. And this one is down at 80% off, puts it at $5.99, $6 for Field of Glory 2 Medieval. I want to make sure I mention Fantasy General 2, because this one is a classic fantasy war game owned by Gravity, and it is down at $8 right now. Puts it at 80% off. If you get too much World War II in this list and you need some fantasy, there you go. There is Fantasy General 2. There's a newer ICBM. ICBM, the first one, though, is on a big sale, which came out back in 2020, and in this sort of real-time strategy game, but set in the Cold War, you're launching ICBMs and all kinds of other terrible things at each other. And which came out back in 2020, but it is now sitting at 60% off, puts it at $8 at the moment over here on Steam with this big sale. And the last one for Steam is the big one, Distant Worlds Universe, which is the first Distant Worlds. I mentioned Distant Worlds 2. Distant Worlds 1 is sitting at $3 right now, puts it at 90% off. And this is one of the grandest scale strategy games that are out there. I'm not sure which one's more grand, this one or Distant Worlds 2. It's been a long time since I played Distant Worlds 1, so I can't answer that question, but there you go. It is $3. That's all of the Steam sales, and those will all end on December 16th. I want to make sure to mention, though, that Slitherine has their own site, their own page, of course, and they're having their own sale. Their own holiday sale is going on until January 6th, so if you miss those Steam sales that end December 16th, these are still here until the 6th, and some of them are real good. Some of them are better than Steam, so you make sure you check over here before you purchase. For instance, though, Shadow Empire, which is not on sale on Steam, but is on sale over here at 60% off, puts it at $16. And Shadow Empire is, I love this one. It's a war game. It's a sci-fi war game where you're colonizing a planet, an alien planet. And one of the better sci-fi strategy war games that I have played in recent years, and definitely worth it for $16. But there you go. There is the Slitherine 25th anniversary, both the Slitherine Next new games announcements, the updates, and the big sale going on. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Slitherine, for sponsoring today, and I'll see you next time.